Hello and welcome to Roasting the World, where we offer an adversarial perspective on today's cultural issues. We do it for the intelligent culture. Well, and I am your host, Keenan Robinson, and I have a very special guest today. I've known you for a lot of years. This is Tiana Adeje.
Hello.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am a native of Nashville, Tennessee, and I've been doing music for quite some time. I want to say it's about 17 years now.
Wow.
Since 2002. Yeah, whoa, more than 16 years.
Wow, that's a vet in the game.
Since 2002, and I think that was my starting point of even doing anything before actually, it was after acting, because I had started acting when I was like 7.
What were you doing at 7?
You know what? I'm all over the place. So I wanted to start acting when I was 7 years old, but I didn't officially start acting until I was 9 years old. So then that's when everything in the acting realm for me began. And then when I turned 16, that's when the whole music thing kicked off. So after that, it was kind of like me juggling both of them, and that was my two main passions at that time. So,
where can they find your music or some of the things you've been in?
So Adige is my rap name, which is spelled Adige, and it's an acronym for Diamond in God's Eyes. And on YouTube is where I have my channel, which says Adige Music Videos, and that's with the S at the end. And that's where they can see a lot of the music videos that I've done, or even performances that I've had. And I'm on pretty much every platform of social media. You got your Facebook, Instagram. I just recently joined back on Snapchat due to the fact that I wanted to keep in touch with a lot of the young people that I've been in touch with. Twitter, not so much on it, but I still got my active account there.
How do you balance all of that stuff with like home life, and because you're a parent, right?
I am.
Okay.
10-year-old daughter.
Wow, 10.
So I try to make it work as best as I can by putting her first.
Right.
And what she loves to do. We just finished her basketball season with elementary, since she's been wanting to do that. So that was a great season for her, and her first time even learning the formalities of how to dribble the ball and shoot it and all that good stuff. So was at every game, and just to be able to see her come out of that shell that she was in as a young person. So to answer your question, how do I juggle it is just I make time for her first, and then pretty much whatever time I have left, I try to squeeze some me time in there. Yeah.
Well, that brings us to our topic to be roasted today, which is partially going to be parenting, and then being in the entertainment industry and having that work-life balance. So, I mean, tell me about it. Have you found that it's easy to date? Have you found that it's difficult to be a superstar, have your face out there? Because people know who you are.
Yeah.
I had people that come up to me when they saw you, because she's done some acting in some films that we're, mutually we're in, Closer to God, and then the superhero movie that's coming out pretty soon. But people know who you are, and they say, hey, she raps. She's a female rapper, and she does like inspirational hip hop or different things like that.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. So how do you maintain your passion for pushing through and still be a parent, like for real?
It can be a struggle. I know for me personally, it's just been a lot that I deal with, and that's why I started my podcast, Finding Myself Remedies, so that I can get out of my own shell. Because even though I'm trying to be an inspiration to my daughter, I have to find that moment and opportunity for me to just not let my guards down in a way, but it's more like me encouraging myself, because that discouragement can hit quickly, and it'll cause me to shut down and not really want to push or pursue, what my passion is. So I know you say that I'm a superstar and everything like that, and I kind of go back and forth with that, because I know that I meet a lot of people or have met a lot of people along the way. But it's always a humble thing for me when I'm out in the open. I never wanted that starstruck type thing. So when people see me out in the streets or wherever in public, and they just be like, oh, I can't say hi to her because she's on this level.
Right.
No,
you got to be down to earth.
Yeah.
You're a real person.
Yeah.
I mean, I've met quite a few people, and most of them are pretty cool, and I try to, treat them as such because they got security out there.
Like, let me touch your hand.
Right. Well, I mean, I met. Well, I'm not gonna. I don't know if I can say met, but I remember that I worked at Lowe's Vanderbilt Plaza when I was, in college, and Angelina Jolie and Billy Bob Thornton were there. So like, I'm like, that's Angelina Jolie right there, and I walked up to her like, hey, I had to drive their, car or do something. I had something to do, and I was like, okay, this is really cool right here, just to be right here. You can tell when people like Michael Jackson or some of these other people have an aura. Rick James, you know what I mean? So like you can feel their energy. You know what I mean? But yeah, I was on your podcast. Say the name of it again.
It's Finding Myself Remedy, and I separated my and self because it's just the ownership of my. So it's not just saying that it's just for me, but for anybody who comes across the name is Finding Myself Remedy. And just to basically, like I just said, finding a place for me to just talk about any and everything that I can with anybody and not really hold back, because some people still have that assumption that just because I'm a single mother, that's all I want to talk about. No, I want to talk about a lot of other things. And so that gives me an opportunity to say that and ask other people, how they feel about it. And
I was on there, and I was on there, and we talked about fatherhood, and it was really impactful because the people that heard it were like, "Wow, I needed to hear that," because sometimes being a dad, and just from the dad perspective, it's difficult to have that work-life balance because I'm supposed to be traditionally or whatever but overall I'm supposed to provide, protect. That means food and shelter and electric bill and making sure that everybody's good, and sometimes when I'm out in the world, it's exhausting. I'm tired. And I come home, and the kids still need, to come right here and give me a hug and to me to help with homework. And sometimes I don't have that. So that's when that, that other side would come in. But as a single, father, when it's just me, it's like, okay, I got to give that energy even if I don't have it. I got to dig deep sometimes. And at times you get energy from your kids and from people that encourage you in that way also, because when you are having a bad day, sometimes you got to let it go and leave it at the door and be able to come in the house and say, this is my home. I'm happy. And nobody, that's over with, and that's one of the things that helped me with stress, and like I was seeing a therapist just because I just had a lot, childhood trauma, different things of that nature. And I found solace in my children, to where all this stuff is going on, but I'm able to push that away when I can go hang out with the kids, or we can go to the park or watch a movie together. We can just sit. I can cook for y'all, and it just changes because your responsibilities are different. You don't have to hit a deadline. You just got to be present, so I kind of really enjoy being a dad and those type of things. So I'm glad you gave me the opportunity to talk about fatherhood, which is one of the other reasons I was like, man, you need to come on my podcast and we can talk, roasting the world, So I really appreciate you. And, as far as the entertainment, field that you're in, we're both in actually. What do you think of the state of music?
The state of music, to be flat out honest, I don't listen to a lot.
Well, you listen to it. Give me a top three.
If I could pick my top three, it would probably be Andy Mineo. It would probably be No Big Deal, and it was somewhere, probably within the Triple E and between him and Bizzle. Like it's in the whole 116 tribe type thing. But if I was to say on the secular realm, it's just been me and my daughter just vibing out to the 90s because that was our era. And I just love to see her just being inspired by any genre of music, because we can sing a lot of songs that we probably have never heard, in our own groups or whatever. But when it comes to just listening to any type of music, I don't try to judge a person for their lifestyle versus what they sing or rap about, because we don't know their backstory. And I understand that that's a lot of judgment that's kind of going on right now, because I think in the news today they're talking about a lot of the rap artists and how they are not living up to what they're rapping about, and finding a lot of them to, I know, and it was something that we already discovered, but the fact that they're trying to criminalize them for saying that they committed all these crimes and things like that. So that's that part. And then you have other artists who have gone through the trenches and still trying to make that legendary action with the music, and having their downfalls, being a one-hit wonder. Like, what does that feel like? What does that feel like to, be at the top of the charts, and now you just unnoticed, like one of them unsung artists. So yeah, I kind of pay attention to what people were dealing with and how they made it through it all. But even to just take my own notes is just, how do I keep it going with the music that I write? Because I have my moments where it's just like, okay, yeah, that song ain't gonna fit. That song ain't gonna go for anybody. Ain't nobody gonna feel it or whatever. But we just never know. So it's like, I mean, why not just, release that song that nobody has ever heard, and it could touch somebody. So I just, I don't have my commentary viewpoints on how people write their music, but it's just to see their lifestyle.
Well, I'll say this. Now, as a person, I've done gangster rap, inspirational rap. I kind of switched over a little bit or whatever, just, when I had kids. But there's a message in the music.
It is.
And if I'm listening to certain things, it puts me in a certain mind state. So I would much rather not listen to a lot of sad songs because it kind of like makes me think in my head to like lost love and relationships or something happened, and I don't want to think about that. I'm trying to be, watching a football game or, I'm trying to do something else to where I need to be in a even keeled or a good mood. So that's just kind of an example, but it is interesting that our culture are not the only, but started self-hate music.
Self-hate music.
You know what I mean? And it seems like it's the powers that be have a lot of control in that particular area. And it's just interesting to see, what comes out of our mouths. And I see, because I work, around children, sometimes I see kids singing those songs. And I'm like, you do not know what you're chanting in the world, but that's just one part of it, but that's kind of weird though, because you got people that make movies, you got people that do music that of course they're not living those songs. I mean, living those things that they're doing. Michael Corleone was Al Pacino. He's not really a mafia kingpin, and you're not using that against them, and it's all entertainment. So like that's my stance on it, because I was once a person that did gangster rap, and I'm like, I stole the plane and flew to Egypt and took the pyramid or something, something crazy. But I'm not doing that. It's entertainment. It's fun. Sometimes you freestyle and different things of that nature, but I just think that's kind of whack though, just to put it in layman's terms, because man, people sing about things all the time. People go to church and sing about God. That don't mean they live in that.
That's right.
But, and I see how it affects kids. And I think that's really one of my, because before the court, trying to prosecute people or whatever, I always felt like, what you put in is what you get out.
Yeah.
It's not always true, but a lot of times, like I remember listening to, let's say, Say It Loud, I'm Breaking on Proud, James Brown, or, Tupac, keep your head up or something like that. That made me feel empowered. Yeah. It made me feel good. It made me feel like I was proud of me, and then you hear other things that don't make you feel as such. And that it's true. Music, what it says, soothes the savage beast or something of that nature. So, I think it's important. It says make a joyful noise unto the Lord. And this is part of our noise to the Lord is, trying to figure out ways to glorify him, even if we're telling the truth of our story. Because there are some harsh truths, out here in the world where you can actually talk about some of these things and it's a real story. It's not, so I think, you have to have a good balance. But yeah, so, we are working on a couple of different projects. We just did the superhero deal where you played the special agent. So that's gonna be dope. You got some really good parts and there's some strong scenes. So you said you've been acting since nine,
Since
and
I
then
was
12.
9, yeah,
And then
yeah.
what was your first gig?
So my first gig was this. So in children's church, they did a play. I forgot the name of it that fast, but I want to say the name of my character was it Patience. It has something that started with a P. And I think we were just trying to encourage someone else who didn't. So I was like a dark character. I think that's what it was.
Okay.
And I think we were trying to provoke a certain person to, give into doubt, give into fear, give
Right.
into all these
Right.
things that don't really help you to grow. Yeah.
Right.
And so then at the end of it all, it was more like, okay, I think we got transformed to being the opposite or the antonym of what we were.
Right.
And so if I was doubt, then I turned into belief and things like that. So that was a good way for us to portray those types of
that's
things.
dope.
And like I said, that's what I did when I was 9. And then the plays for the adults started happening upstairs.
Well, how did that impact you to have that first success?
But it didn't. I don't think it hit me until I actually did until I actually joined the adults acting part, because at that time I didn't know. You can't. It's kind of hard to read kids' emotions sometimes, and how they feel about what's taking place with what you're acting out. And so I was just like, okay, this is an opportunity for me to just get out that shell, being shy. And after that, then that's when it was just like, okay, bring on the plays, bring on the productions and things like that. So I want to say that your film, if I'm not mistaken, was the very first outside of performing at plays at the church.
Okay,
and stuff.
okay,
So
that's awesome.
They gave
Well,
me
that's good.
that footage.
And that film is on. It's called Closer to God, and it's on Tubi. It's on. I want to say a few other Amazon and a few other platforms like that. It's a kind of like a hood Law and Order a little bit, to where I'm a lawyer and I have some things happening and different things of that nature. You should check it out, called Closer to God. But yeah, well, I'm glad that opportunity happened, because I always wanted to work with you. I remember seeing you and I was like,
Okay.
I know she does music, and I remember I brought you in on one of the songs on that same film, and you were doing your thing, and it was dope. It actually, the song is played at a really heavy part.
Okay.
So yeah, it's very, very cool.
Yeah.
So what we do on Roasting the World is we have a thing called roast time, where you roast or toast something. So if you toast it, then that means, yes, we need to continue to to talk about it and different things of that nature. But if you roast it, that means we throwing it in the fire. There's nothing else we don't need to talk about it no more. It's over with. So let's talk about, do you roast or toast? Work-life balance between the entertainment world and your real world, and parenting, and the state of what's happening right now in entertainment.
So explain the roasted toast, because I just want to make sure that I.
So if you
get
roast
right.
it, we don't need to talk about it no more. It's done.
Okay.
If you toast it, then our community needs to have a more robust conversation about it.
Okay. So I can say I'll toast it, because there needs to be a fine definition of how people can balance everything that they're doing. If that's right.
Absolutely.
If that's the right response. Okay.
Yeah. No, it is. It's true. So I also will toast this topic, because it's near and dear to me, because I do have to have a work-life balance as a parent and as a professional. I do think that the entertainment industry is kind of trending, because I watched the new Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, what I liked seeing is some of the imagery of us on there, and positive things. We got our own swag, our own clothes, our own languages, our own hairstyles, authentically us. And wow, we need more of that. And I don't mean to go back to the Cosby Show or Different World and stuff like that. But those are positive images of us that people wanted to see, that portrayed, that pushed the narrative of success.
Right.
And I just want to see more of that in our music and what we see visually on the screen. And not that we don't have it, but we don't have enough. And not even just for people of color, but just in general, it means a lot to other cultures to see us in a good light. You know, like when the world saw President Obama, the world was like, you know what I mean? So I think that let's change that narrative and control our narrative on what we put out there for us to look like and be and act like, and you know, get back to that rich, you know, type of heritage. And so I really, you know, want to toast the entertainment and being able to raise a family and be in the entertainment world. So, you know, that's kind of how I feel. I really appreciate you coming on. Give us a little bit of, you know, any shout outs, any information you want to give out, last words.
Shout outs and information. Let's see. Shout out to the students that I got a chance to work with at the middle school that I was just now working at that I ended up leaving on yesterday. So
Okay.
It was a bittersweet moment for me because I so have a heavy passion for working with young people, and however I can help is how I, you know, offer my services. So shout out to them and shout out to my family and friends. Don't want to name anybody in specific because I do not want to forget anybody. And as far as information, I have been trying to get back into the whole social media realm. I'm not one who likes to stay on there because I'm not that type.
The energy.
But yeah, and so if ever any platform is needed for me to be on social media, I'll try to plug in a thing here and there. But like I was saying at the beginning, is that I'm pretty much on every social media platform, and I think it's been consistent with my name, so they won't be hard to find. But you got the YouTube, Facebook. Facebook, it's Tiana Adeje McKinney. And then I have a few more pages on there, but the list is long.
Right, the list is long.
But I'm out there. I'm just not out there as much as I want to be right now. But pretty soon it'll.
Well, we gotta, you know, get together, get some more music together.
Yeah.
Or get you in the next project, and let's keep working.
Okay.
All right. So until next time, stay tuned for another exciting episode of Roasting the World, and stay ready so you don't gotta get ready.
There you go.
Peace.
See ya.